And now, the Becky and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
Stop it now.
Taking it back to the 80s. Let's go.
Becky and Bubba,
80s.
they have a
Feels
show
70s
5
to
days
me.
a
Very
week,
70s,
but
I
they don't
think.
get to say everything that's on their mind, so they have an extra one. And that's how we get the podcast, the podcast, the podcast.
Wow.
The Becky and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
Yeah, this is
sounds
definitely
like-
70s.
I was going to say like 1981, Tower of Power, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's pretty close to the
that kind of
70s.
thing.
Yeah, 80s.
It's 70s adjacent. It's, yeah.
70s adjacent.
I'm 70s adjacent.
I do love those TikToks where it's like they show like a Christmas from 19, put the year in, whatever. And it's like always a Sears catalog or J.C. Penney's for me. Yeah.
Oh, wow. By the way, we're doing something different. I was inspired while watching Treehouse of Horrors, which, by the way, it is Halloween. Carson, who loves scary stuff, this may not be scary enough for you, but Treehouse of Horrors, which is the annual Simpsons episodes.
Did they actually air it this year?
I don't know
Or
if we've seen the new one
Here's
yet.
the problem with my
Frankie
Treehouse
and I
of-
watch them every single year.
That's the only episode of The Simpsons I care about. However, it seems like for the last, how long has Simpsons been on? 86 years. But when was the last time they ran it before Halloween? It's always the Sunday after. It's always in November.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a ratings thing because it used to be November was sweeps
the big
month for
push?
networks. Yeah, it was ratings. But it always drove me crazy that like Treehouse of Horrors. Where I was like, here you go. Here's your spooky Simpson story on November 4th.
Yeah, that is kind of
doesn't
weird.
really work. does it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yes, it's enjoyable.
Watching some of the old Treehouse of Horrors episodes, I was like, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to go ahead and do a little Simpsons-esque thing here. So every week when you turn the podcast on, from here on moving forward, you never know what you're going to get for a podcast theme. Today was 1978 to 82.
We don't know what
Little
Bart's
funk.
going to write on the chalkboard.
We don't know what's going to end up on the chalkboard, so that's kind of our
That's
new
fun.
thing moving forward. And it just kind of shakes it up because we will never know either, which
Oh.
is kind of the fun thing.
Oh, I like that.
We don't get to know. It just
So
happens.
it's just a
and we
random.
have
It's
to-
like
you
a
hit the
grab
button.
bag.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. It's the grab bag of horror.
Did your moms ever put the grab bag at the garage sale? My mom did.
No, what's
she would,
that?
She would just she just knew that people. Probably my dad actually. He would just take a paper bag and just put stuff in it that wasn't selling, and he put it in there and seal it or staple it and put it's a mystery bag, and he would put $1 on it.
I would so buy that. I would be that sucker.
I was that-
Absolutely.
We got
I was
rid of
the
so
grab
much
bag
stuff.
kid,
So
too.
smart. So smart.
But you can only put small things in it.
Yeah, well, it was just a bunch of stuff.
Or you do like
need
a
a
box.
box.
You
I
can
think we'd
do
have
a
boxes,
grab
too.
box and then just.
Well, also back in the day, we used to have paper bags from the grocery store, Garrett. So they could be
Yeah,
bigger.
that's
So,
right.
yeah, because
Oh,
we used to
wow.
use those to
You can
cover
get
our
those
books.
again.
Hey, they still have those at Aldi.
You still
Oh,
have
that's
those all
true.
over,
Yeah.
actually. If you go to the grocery store, no matter where you go, you just request paper bags. They
Oh.
have them.
Oh,
They're
I
not-
bring my own, so that's
Yeah, I
why
do.
I haven't done that in years.
Yeah, I do
but,
too.
yeah.
I do too. I can't believe I'm now that way. I used to make fun of I'd see people with their little bags, their little, recyclable things.
You know why I did?
And now I do
had
it.
an entire trash bag filled with grocery plastic bags.
Yeah.
And, when, like, the last of my dogs passed away, I didn't need poop bags anymore.
You know
No.
those.
So I was just like, this thing is sitting in my house. And I was like, I'm just going to bring in this.
So those grocery bags, the little plastic bags that you get at the grocery store, those do biodegrade. They take a while, but the good news is that if they do end up in a landfill, they do biodegrade. A lot of people that are under the misconception that they don't. They do. They break down, especially if you leave them out in sunshine. That actually breaks them down even faster. So I'd never understood the backlash against the plastic bags because they're not the problem. The
I think we're
problem is
all
this
inherently
other stuff.
selfish. It just takes up space in the house.
No, I love
Because
the plastic
everybody
bags.
has, like, everybody's mom had a drawer where, like, nope, put the bag in there. You never know when you're going to need it.
I, like you, have a bag full of bags.
Oh,
and
so
I
much.
use the heck out of those bags. I use them for everything. They're
Just never know, man.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, not only
Well.
does it allow me to carry the milk, I always double bag my milk and things like that. Not only does it allow me to carry it from the car into the house without it breaking and ended up on the floor, but then it ends up getting used for whatever.
You know, I have a little wheelie cart.
Oh,
So
you
when I
have
go
those?
grocery shopping, and then I pop the cart open when I get home, and I wheel my little cart inside
Look
with
at
my
you.
groceries.
Is it like a?
It's like a wagon.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new homes? We're just kind of bouncing around here, but
Yeah.
might as well just roll with it.
That's what we do every week. What are you talking about? What's different?
Have you seen the new home constructions? They build in. They call them Costco
Yes.
doors.
Yes.
What's a Costco door?
So when you pull into the garage on that wall, like that, like you're driving into, yeah. So on that wall, there's like a little half door with a doorknob, and it's made so that you can open that up, and it's right. That's where the kitchen is, and or the
So
pantry
you
or
just
whatever.
unload
Yep.
stuff
You slid it
directly
Straight
in.
right
in.
straight
Yep.
into the house, right through the little door.
I love those TikToks so much because it always feels like a secret passage.
Yeah.
It's so great and so smart
Mm-hmm.
because whether it's Costco and you're buying in bulk or just going to the grocery, I remember being a kid and, you know, your mom would like, it's the back of the station wagon is filled up with these bags. And it's like, all right, kids, I need help unloading groceries. And even though it was maybe 20 feet, right, from the garage to the kitchen, it's like, oh, this is so hard. I can't
Yeah.
watch TV. And it does. It takes like 30 seconds, but it was the worst chore
I have
as a
to
kid.
put my phone down.
Oh, well, that wasn't my time, but yeah.
Dude, the problem I have is I don't have a butt, and so my pants fall down. So I can't put my phone in my pocket because it weights it down. And as I've got my hands full of my groceries, I'm walking to the house and my pants are falling down. I've walked into my house with my pants around my ankles more than 5 or 7 or 12 times.
I can attest this is true because I have heard him complain forever.
Bubba
about-
has a great butt. I don't have any.
My butt is really good for holding shorts up. It's like there's a shelf. It's a short shelf, and it holds your shorts perfectly in place.
I'm like that thing where you see it in museums and you're like, look at the face and it's concave, now convex. I'm that. My butt goes inside.
It's like, mer.
Yeah, it's a great thing. My dad has the same thing. Been noticing that because I see it every day. I go see him at the hospital with this gown and he wants to stand up.
Oh, and then you have to make sure the gown doesn't open and
I've
all
seen
that.
things. Man, I don't know. I don't know if it's the drugs. He's getting kind of loose-lipped. Like he's saying he said the S word the other day.
Your dad
Oh.
cussed?
He did. They brought him some pureed food or whatever because he couldn't swallow after the ventilator came out or something. So it's hard to eat solid food for a while. And I walk in, I'm like, hey guys, you know, there's 2 nurses in there and they're kind of laughing. And they said, well, Mr. Larry, he can't hear. Larry, tell him what you said. I said, it looks like chicken. And I was just like, what? And then he'd say like weird, kind of like, well, it's inappropriate things. Like he would say weird, like sexual inappropriate things.
Your dad?
Yes. He's like completely
It's
high.
gotta be. Yeah, I was gonna say it's gotta be the drugs they have him on as part of the thing.
Yes. He told me he was the boob guy. I'm like, what?
Your dad said he's a
Yes.
boob guy.
Wow.
He goes, I like the nurses here. They're prettier. And there's one girl I'm trying to get her introduced to his grandson, my son, one of them, Gunner. And I said, okay. He says, she's kind of flat chested, though. I'm like, okay. Yeah, most guys, they don't like, they want, you know. I go, He goes, I'm a boob guy. I'm like, oh, what is happening?
Oh, dear.
I want you to get better, but jeez.
I want you to get better, but I want you to get better and back to the way you were before.
Then this nurse walks in. God, I hope he never hears this podcast. This nurse walks in.
Do you think your
You think your dad's going to
is
find a
gonna listen?
podcast?
No, of course. So this nurse walks in and he goes, whatever her name, Jennifer, I want him to take your picture, and I'm going to send it to my grandson. And I go, I'm not taking her picture, Dad. And she's kind of like, And I said, I'm not taking her picture, Dad. And he goes, take her picture. She doesn't mind. You don't mind. She was like, and he can't hear. So
I love the way old people always assume
I know,
if
right?
it's their will,
It's
nobody
fine.
minds.
No one
and that
minds.
is everybody's dad.
So he can't hear, and so I kind of do a ventriloquist thing where I'm talking, and my mouth's not moving, so he knows I'm not talking. He doesn't think I'm talking. And I said, hey, I'm gonna act like I'm taking your picture, but I'm really not.
And your dad can't hear.
Can't hear,
because-
right. And she goes, okay. And I said, okay, I'm gonna take your picture. I said, okay, you ready? And it's like on the home screen. I don't even think my phone was on. It was, and I go, okay, we got it. She's like,
Did
okay.
you pretend to send it also?
Oh no, I just was hoping he would forget about it because he was, pretty. His eyes were kind of like, rah, rah. And then nope, sure enough, man, 20, 15 minutes later, whatever. Did you send me that picture? Dad, I didn't. I'm not taking her picture. Why? Because it's weird. It's creepy. I'm not going to take anyway. But anyway, he's headed home today.
Could you send that picture to me, please?
He worked so very hard. So very hard.
I don't know what that gold is.
What was that?
I don't know. It's a gold. I have no idea. I just was like, well, this is normally where
Well, it kind of fit, actually.
we have a little thing. It was like,
He worked so very hard. So very hard.
I think it was a lady who was proud of her husband or something like that, and
Well,
she
that's not-
cried.
He worked so very hard. So very hard.
I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to laugh at that.
I'm not laughing at it.
Well,
I'm
golds
just
are meant to be laughed at.
Oh, well, no, we kept it. We kept that.
I know because
And
we
we
laughed,
approve.
but
Here's-
in public we don't think that's
Yeah.
funny.
Here is a thing.
God,
here is
Bubba,
I
you
know,
know
but
better.
Jeez.
Here is a thing
Golly.
about the
Start
golds.
calling you Larry.
I don't get to just pick any random gold.
Bubba, take
nor
her
does Big
picture.
D. But whenever we have a gold, we're like, oh, that's a gold, and somebody has to second it always. Somebody always has to say, all right, let's keep that. So I mean, we end up with stuff like
I couldn't wait to put it in my mouth.
Okay, that.
I mean,
That sounds like my dad.
He worked so very hard. So very hard.
Can you retitle that "Do Not Play" because we are not nice?
okay then.
I couldn't wait to put it in my mouth.
There we go.
Can we say not play that one too? Hey, did you guys see the video? It's been going around. It's a guy at a Buffalo Bills NFL game, and they're in the stands, and there's some guy's like right in his face, like, you want some of this? And the guy is just smiling at him.
Oh, I just watched this, D.
Did you see
I
that?
haven't seen this.
Yeah. So this guy, he's like, you want some? He's like, "Ugh." And like, they kind of like
So
do
he's
this,
trying
like,
to
like
puff up
yeah,
on him
you
and
know,
everything.
yeah,
Looking
you
for
kinda-
smoke, yeah.
Yeah, he's looking for smoke and throwing hands. And this guy, he's shorter. He's on like a lower. He's a step down, and he's just right in his
So
face.
the big
And-
guy's got the high ground.
yeah, right. He's really not
right.
that big. He's just dumb. Anyway, and he's yelling at this guy, and he's just smiling at him, and he's not backing down. Every time that guy like flinches at him, he doesn't flinch back. Well, come to find out, he's a fighter. He's an MMA fighter.
Yes.
And everyone's like, dude, because people, it like went,
People
wow.
knew who
and they're
he
like, hey,
was?
I know that guy. I watched him beat a guy's brains out in a ring the other day, and everyone's like, that guy cheated death. He doesn't even know. And it's like,
Yeah, I think he's like 14-0.
it's 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite stories when you have somebody tried to rob an MMA fighter, or years ago somebody tried to rob David Copperfield and he did sleight of hand like, no, I have no wallet on
Oh,
me.
that's great. I was like, isn't that the magician?
The magician. And so he was
Yeah.
like, oh, look at that, nothing in my hands.
Oh, that's great. That's pretty great.
I love that stuff. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
This
Also
could be
not-
a big lie that I heard one time, but I heard that MMA fighters have to register their hands as like
Weapons.
Weapons. or
I had
something.
heard that because wasn't Mike Tyson? That was a thing with him because if he got in a fight with a civilian, that it was literally a
I don't
deadly
think
weapon.
any of that is true.
I don't
Oh, well, I believed it.
I don't think. Yeah, I think
did.
that's just somebody started that rumor way back when because somebody was a ferocious fighter. He has to register as a weapon.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
then like that became a thing, and everybody just kind of jumped on it. I am searching all over. I cannot find this video. I really, if one of y'all runs across it,
The one I was talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got it right here. I'm just looking at it. My bad. I'll send it to you.
yeah, I'm like, I want to see this.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
If you see a guy with like cauliflower ear,
Oh, no, stay
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Just don't
Yes.
mess with him.
Yeah, you must.
Do you know what that is, Carson?
I don't. I've
Cauliflower-
heard the term a million times. I don't know what that means.
Okay,
though.
so wrestlers have cauliflower ears. You can go ahead and explain it. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, so cauliflower ear is so when like collegiate wrestling, we would have to wear it just goes over
Yeah.
your ears and
Yep.
it's, yeah, because when you get like like in a headlock or you're real tight around it rubs your ears and your ears will hemorrhage inside the
You get
globe
cartilage damage.
and and they get real swollen.
Nope, don't need to see it.
And
Thanks,
they get
Bubba.
all
No,
puffy. It's not
bad.
terrible
It's not showing what I'm about to show you isn't bad. It just shows you examples of cauliflower ear, like the after effects of. No, but I'm just saying it's not bloody or anything like that. Like, look, you got like it looks like deformed ears.
Gross.
But if you see a guy with deformed ears,
Yeah.
it's
Don't do that.
Mess with it.
No. Either they're a grappler, they're an MMA, they're something.
Yeah.
They've been at the point where they
have deadly weapons attached to their arms.
Yes. Man, I'm trying to find that guy, but I'll find it eventually. I don't know if we can play it.
Man, I'm just scrolling through cauliflowers. There's some people with some really bad ones.
Yeah, you see it like I enjoy watching the college Greco-Roman wrestling, like national championships, and you see those guys are just.
But almost every MMA guy, almost every boxer.
But most of those guys were wrestlers in high school and college.
Yeah. So you end up seeing these guys, and and there's also a way, man, you can also tell just by watching somebody's body language how somebody moves. If somebody moves very lightly and agile, just walking, you know that they're probably going to be able to move pretty well in a fight. So, yeah, years ago, I worked in a bar, and that was the thing. I was a bar back and bouncer, and you would see these guys walk in, you'd know, okay, this guy's going to be trouble if he starts something. You could just tell. And you get to where you pick it up. And, I'm sure like the government, they teach our, CIA and DIA and all the IAs. I'm sure they teach them how not to walk because you don't want to be deemed as a threat. And any threat or any person who would be a threat can recognize a threat. In other words, game recognizes game kind of thing.
Yeah, I found that video of that guy.
Okay. You're going to send it to me?
I just sent it to your IM.
All right.
Yeah. I think there's audio. I have no idea what they
I
say.
don't know if I can play
so
it or
maybe-
anything like that, but I'm going to pull it up over here and just see the guy. Okay, so this guy's in his face.
It's during the game. They're
The
in the
MMA
fans.
guy's low. Yeah, he's okay.
He kind of looks like a.
Was the MMA guy
you
wearing
you probably
anything?
can't hear it because it's from a distance, so it's probably fine.
Oh,
He's
okay.
like, sit down. This other guy's
Like,
all
was he
up in his
wearing
I mean, don't people cuss
opposing
on podcasts all the
jurors?
time? I don't know
Yeah.
what it matters. I
Yeah,
guess we're in.
Oh, I just thought
don't
we
think-
didn't.
We don't.
They were rooting for opposing teams. Yes.
That's what I was asking. Yes.
Yeah, So I was watching it, and this guy, I mean, the MMA guy's just smiling. He's like, man. And the other guy's like trying to start trouble.
And he's all angry.
He
and the other
took his
guy's
hat
completely
off.
calm.
That's how you know he was ready to fight. I took my hat off.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to a Bills game once, and there was some poor dude in his Eli Manning jersey.
Oh no.
And they just started going out. It was so
ruthless.
bad. I stepped in.
I'll never forget. Bubba took me to
you
the
really?
Saints game.
Saints Falcons.
Saints Falcons
Oh, my
game.
God.
His first ever game, he got to go
Oh.
to.
Oh, my
I mean,
God.
in New Orleans, there's a thing called Falcons Hate Week, and it's every year twice a year when you play the Falcons. It's Falcons Hate Week.
So, Bubba's a lifelong Saints fan. I had never been to the Dome before. I'd never been to a Saints game. He's like,
Mistake to take him to that one for his first experience.
we're going, man. I think did we go with listeners or something?
We
some
took a
people?
bus. Yeah, we did a bus trip with
We had
listeners.
terrible seats. God, I remember I thought I was going to have a heart attack. We were climbing up a mountain of stairs. Anyway, we sit down and I noticed over to the left there was like a whole section of these guys that had like the same T-shirts on. Like they were.
It looked like a bachelorette party.
Yeah, they were like a group. Like they had their, this is our football guy group, whatever, matching shirts and the whole thing. And I sit down. The game's going. I noticed there's this guy in front of me. He was drunk, and his head was kind of like laying back. And I'm getting my legs, and I'm gangly and all that, and barely fitting in this thing. And
when
he's-
you're in the cheap seats,
Oh,
there's
it's just
less
no
room than in
room.
the other seats.
And he's like right on me. He's like his head is almost like in between my knees as I'm sitting. And it's just anyway, the Saints are losing, it's not going great. And about was it third quarter maybe? halftime.
Somewhere up in there.
I hear.
We were behind.
Yeah, we're behind. Over behind me, to my right shoulder, I hear, "Hey, big man." Now, my entire life, I know if I'm in a group and someone says that, they're talking to me. I have no doubt. It's always me. And I just didn't. I didn't turn around. "Hey, big man." Don't turn around, Derek. And all of a sudden, someone taps me. Hey, big man. Hey, we can get you, man. I go, yeah. I turn around and he goes, I guess, "Hey, man, touch his Jerry curl for good luck."
They said rub.
A rub his Jerry curl for good luck. And I was like, oh, this is a terrible, terrible, terrible situation.
Yep.
You got a black guy telling the big dopey white guy, the whitest guy there,
the most whitest.
Yep.
to rub another black guy's
Jerry curl for good luck for the team
gosh.
because they're a whole group that have their shirts. They're all in it.
I'm like-
they're drunk.
I'm just sitting there going,
Bubba's-
please, Big D, do not. I'm
You
laughing.
were like two people down from me.
I'm laughing,
and I
but I'm
kind of
like,
looked over at
oh.
you like, help me. And Bubba was no help. He was figure this out, big boy.
He's talking to you. He's
Not talking to me. Yeah. And so, so I'm like, well, I was thinking, man, he would never know if I touched his hair. He's half passed out. It's all greasy, it's whipping down his neck. And I'm like, these guys, do it. And they're all like, now they're all on me.
all cheering.
They're
for
all
Big
cheering
D.
me.
Go,
to
go, go,
and
go,
rub
go.
the guy's Jerry curl. Finally, I was just like, I turned to them and I go, I can't do it. They lost it. They laughed so hard. I just can't. I can't do it. I'm sorry. They thought it was the funniest thing ever.
And we lost.
And they lost.
Oh.
I should have done it.
Yeah, you should have. You should have.
Yeah, and then I couldn't wait to put it in my mouth. Just such great timing. Timing's everything, they say. And then we left the game and walking out, and there was like, I don't know,
Couple
12 fights that happened on escalators, downstairs, against walls.
That was pre-Katrina days, which was good because the Superdome it's ramps. And instead of like stairs on, so the ramps had carpet back then, which was really gross because it was full of beer and all that kind of stuff. But after Katrina, they pulled all the carpet out, and it just is now slippery painted concrete.
Oh, that's so bad.
And it's the fights. I think they did that because it makes people behave.
Yeah, because they don't have good footing.
Because you don't have footing. Exactly. You're not going to get in a fight if you think, well, I'm at a disadvantage already.
Nope.
Anyway, that was my experience with the my Saints game.
And that's why when I go to Titans games, I am bored. I am so bored because I'm there and they're playing Steely Dan music. I love Steely Dan. I love Steely Dan. But
there's Jim Croce.
yeah, it's like, if I could save time in a bunch of room.
The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
I'm so used to some flavor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
all right, you go. All you hear is.
and everybody's drunk.
Oh, and they're just like.
And I always say
dancing
this. The thing about South Louisiana is the coolest part. I'm so glad to have grown up in the middle of that, because after traveling the world, and I can say this, the white people are black.
Yeah.
There is and racism and all the crazy stuff you hear in the world is so different because down there everybody is just one people.
Yep.
And
I can tell you, I mean, I'm born and raised in Tennessee. I lived in Montana and got there, moved to Baton Rouge, and we go down there, and I would go to and you're exactly right.
Everybody is the same.
Yep.
It doesn't matter skin color, doesn't matter anything.
Nope.
Because you have ghetto areas that are
White. Yes.
You have ghetto areas that are black. You have ghetto areas that are Hispanic, but it's all mixed over there.
Yes.
And it's the craziest, most amazing place.
I would say that was one of the things I really took away from my New Orleans and the boobs, I guess. There was lots of boobs.
Oh, well, okay.
And that was
Larry
wild.
would have loved that.
Well, he's a boob guy here.
He's a boob guy. He would have been like, got all the beads.
God, I sent him. I can't even tell you.
What? No, what?
No, I'm not.
You can't start
No,
that.
I can. I couldn't wait to put it in my mouth. I can't stay very long. I have to go see him, get him on the road. He's trying to get to in an ambulance and getting back to Cookeville.
Okay. Well, I will say this. Now that we're freshening up some of the stuff on the podcast, we're going to let you get going to your dad. I'm going to get running home. I've got, Treehouse of Horror stuff to watch. And I don't know about the new one. I'll find out, and I'll let you know next week because it might be airing next week after Halloween.
Yeah,
Who
let
knows?
us know.
But
Don't
we do
forget.
have a new podcast outro song as well.
Is this
The
also
int-
just a, we don't know, it's a random?
The intro is always going to change. This one was voted upon as being the eternal, for at least now.
Did I vote on this?
No, you.
Who voted?
You,
No, I
me,
didn't.
Schaefer. Yeah, we
I
did. We
didn't
were
vote
talking
on
about
anything.
it. Oh,
No, you played
Garrett
it
was
for
in
me.
it, and I was like, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's the one."
I mean,
And-
D,
and
did
so
you just hear that? Everybody voted on it. Me and D
everybody voted.
didn't.
Everybody voted. So
Now if
here
they
we go.
hear it and they hate it,
Oh, I do remember this. I
Now
do
you
like
guys
this.
are stuck with it.
Oh, yeah.
This was the podcast,
Yeah, it's over
but
now.
now it's over.
Yeah.
But that's okay because you can listen to
I'm gonna
the
picture the
regular
chick
show
from Ghosts
on the
singing
radio every day.
It was the Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
Yes.
The Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast. The Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
The Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
I think we figured that out. It's the Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast. I'm sorry.